Today's daf is Masechus Nedarim, daf Mem Daled. We are on the bottom of Gimel Beis, the third line from the bottom, the last word. So the Gemara over here is going to bring a brisa. We're going to discuss further the machlokes that we had in the Mishnah, Rabbi Yossi and Rabbanan, and we're trying to bring a raya to one of them. So it's talking to Gemara. Tanya, we learned in the brisa. Hamafkir esadeyu. The brisa says, if somebody's mafkir sadeu, his field, somebody mafkir his field, kol shloishiyam, in the first 3 days, yochal lachzar, he could back out, even if somebody else was zoich in his field. Why? Because chacham masakin that hefker is not chal till 3 days. So the Ran explains, he quotes the Gemara later on, that there were there were people that were frauds, they were mafker the sadis, and then re-be zeicha them in them again in order to pat themselves up from meiser. So therefore, the Chacham said that when you're mafker something the first 3 days, the mafker could be chayzer, and therefore when he's chayzer and he's zeicha in the field, it's not called zeicha min hefker, and it will not be pater from meiser, and that's how they were trying to fix the problem of people being zeicha in order to get rid of the meises. So Zakting Amara. So the halacha is it could be chayzer the first 3 days. After 3 days, ein yachal achzabar, he cannot be chayzer on the hefker, even if nobody else was zeich in the field. And then whoever is after 3 days, whoever is zeich in it is pater from meiser, like the din of hefker that's pater from meiser. It's like the Mishnah in Trumas Parak Aleph Mishnah Hey, and in Meiser's Parak Aleph as well. So Zak the Gemara, Omar, what happens if the mafker said, Hey Zada Zu Mufkeres Liyamecha, whatever mafker said, I want to be mafker for 1 day, or L'Shabbos Achas for 1 week, or L'Chodesh Echad for 1 month, L'Shana Achas for 1 year, or L'Shavua Achas for 1 Shemitah, which is 7 years. So in all these, the halacha is, Achalei Zachaba, Bein Hu Ubein Acher, Yachal Achzabay. So if nobody was Zoich in it yet, either him, whether him or somebody else, he could be chayzer in it, because he could be zoich in it. He could be chayzer until somebody else is zoich in it, because until somebody else is zoich in it, it's not considered he's zoich in a hefker. However, mishazacha ba bein hu bein adam achar, once he or somebody else is zoich in it, ein yachal lachzer boy, then he cannot be chayzer. And if somebody else is zeich in it, then they're kain it. And if he is zeich in it, then it's pater from meiser, and it has a din like zeich min a hefker. Okay, so that's the halacha l'reisha and the halacha l'seifa. So Frekti Gemara comes out according to Rabbi Yochanan Shita in Rabbi Yossi, that hefker does not go out of reshus of the mafker until it goes into the reshus of the zeicha. That was Rabbi Yochanan Shita and Rabbi Yossi. Kumto is that the reisha, if you go with that, then the reisha of the brisa is Rabbanan, because the reisha of the brisa is before that hefker goes out of reshus of the mafker, even though before it goes into reshus zeicha. How do you see that? Because the reisha said that after 3 days he can't be chayzer, even though nobody was zeicha in it. And then, so that's the context. The reisha is the price of Rabbanon, but the Sefer affecting Gemara is doesn't make sense. We only stream like Rabbi Yossi. Why? Because the Sefer says that the hefker does not go out of reshus or mafker until it comes to reshus or zeicha, which is Shita Rabbi Yossi. So reisha Rabbanon Sefer Rabbi Yossi. Gemara is asking. The Chayr doesn't really make sense. So why say it's two man over? So the Gemara Amar Ula Sefer Legavi Mafker Lizman. So Zaktula, no, I have a pshat. The Seifa is talking about his mafker for a certain amount of time. So that nami karabanan. So the Seifa could also be going to Rabbanan. That hold that hefker goes out of reshus even before somebody else is zeichet. Why? Because mafker lisman, either shavua, chodesh, Shabbos. How come if the seifas are abanon? What's pshat in the seifa that he could be chayzer Acha lo zacha bahu ben achar. L'chayr the hefker went out as rishus. L'chayr the hefker with the hefker alone, Rabbanan only goes to rishus. So the Gemara, no, shani l'shana shavua the lo shchichi. It's different. It didn't have hefker when he specifies that it's a shana shavua because it's not shchiach, that a person is mafker something for a specific amount of time, and we have a umdana that he does not want to remove himself fully from the chayfetz, and you see that because he's being mafker lazman. So therefore we say that he does not have a mind to take the chayfetz, that the chayfetz should go out of rishus and mafker until somebody's actually zaychen it, because he's using these lashonis of his mafker lazman, which are not shchiach. It's not normal. So that's why it's different. So the seifa could be going to Rabbanan. So come to this, the reisha could be going to Rabbanan, and the seifa is different. Zaktin Gemara, another Taras of Shlakish says, but the seifa Rabbi Yosi, reisha nam Rabbi Yosi. No, you can say the seifa is Rabbi Yosi, that does not go out of rishus of the mafker, and you can say that the reisha is also Rabbi Yosi. The reisha says, reisha hanu taimo. The reason why in the reisha we say that after 3 days it goes out as rishus, even though it did not come to the hands of a zaycha. Teretz is that we don't want to forget teres hefker. Because people see that the mafker is chayzer, he backs out before somebody else is zaycha, they'll say that the no such thing is hefker. Because you see the guy could always be chayzer. The guy can mafker can take it back. So therefore they'll say there's no such thing as hefker, and you'll say also more than that. You'll say people will see that someone was zayich in it. They'll say that even, and they'll say that the guy could be chayzer. So how's he zayich? And it has to be used teres patano. It's not teres hefker. And in that case, it would be a chiv meiser midaraisa. If something the matana is a chiv meiser rabbanon, the whole tour is only if it's a hefker. And it will come out of takala that they'll come to him ma'aser on Paris. From these Paris, which is technically pater meiser because of the hefker, on something that's chayiv and meiser. So therefore, chom sakin that a mafker cannot be chayzer, but that's only when he's mafker forever. But if he's mafker meaning a regular hefker, if the guy stam is mafker, mashing in the seifa where he does the l'shana shavua, says it's not shchiach, so they said that the mafker could be chayzer because he said it l'zman mesuyim. So those are the two roots in the Gemara. I want to say either you could say the whole Mishnah is Rabbanan, or you could say the whole Mishnah is Rabbi Yosi. So the Gemara now asks on Rosh Hashanah, Yihachi, if the top shot in the Reisha is that it can't be chayzer after 3 days, a gezeres chachamim only, safilim yem arisha nam lehevi lahefker. Then say even the first day is hefker. Why do you have to wait 3 days? Like Gemara, Marabo, that you're right. Taka to gezeres chachamim, you're right. The taka should be chal the hefker even within 3 days. And the reason why it's not chal is because you have the Ramon that they are mafker the fields and they really don't mean to do it. They really don't want to give up their fields. They're only doing it because they want to get around. They want to make a loophole and get around the chiyuv meisus. And then they're really going to come back around. They're going to be and try to reacquire the fields and be chayzer on their hefker. So they're chamasakan that the hefker should not be chal within 3 days. This way they shouldn't be put for meises. And after 3 days, we're not afraid of the Ramon's problem because the Ramon are not going to wait. If the guy's a Ramai, he's going to try to be zechen right away. He's not going to wait 3 days to take back his field. Now the Gemara is going to ask Viter. According to Rabbi Shlokish, it comes out that he said the whole Mishnah is Rabbi Yosi. It's going to come Rabbi Yosi holds he can't be chayzer from hefker after 3 days. According to Rabbi Yosi, it's going to come out in the Mishnah, the Rabbanon Musak, and after 3 days it's automatically hefker. Right? That's pshat in the Reisha. The Reisha says, Kol Shoshim could be chayzer after 3 days. It can't be chayzer even if there's no zeicha. So Zok the Gemara, the Raisa loy have a hefker. We can tell him the Raisa the hefker is not chal. So the chayra with the Raisa. After 3 days, should be chayiv and meiser. It's only this whole thing is only to come to Rabbanim, but the Raisa should be chayiv and meisers. So frak the Gemara, v'doma asil asuri. Maybe if the Raisa is a chayiv, technically after 3 days before there's a zeicha, and the Raisa according to Rabbi Yossi, if you learn like Rish Lakish, so doma asil asuri min achiv. Maybe they come to take meiser from pairs that a chayiv their Raisa al ptur. U'min ptur al chayiv. Why? Because he doesn't chap that. He doesn't chap. He thinks that the whole chiyuv now is only. He thinks that there's no chiyuv on it now, right? So he's going to come take meiser on it. So maybe he'll come take meiser on these things because he thinks that it's ptur because it's only a chiyuv d'Rabbanan. Really, it's not true. Really, midaraisa, it really does have a chiyuv meiser. So come to the guys eating tevel. Zok the Gemara. No. We're not afraid of this problem. Why? We tell the Zoicha Kima Asrat Asemene Ube. When you take Meiser on these pairs, we tell him take Meiser Dafka on these pairs themselves and not from them on other pairs or from other pairs on these in order to avoid all these issues. Then maybe he's going to take from pairs Chayav on Potter. So we tell him when you take Meiser, just work with these pile of pairs, these specific pairs. Frekting Gemara Mesi, the Gemara is going to ask another question on Rish Lakish Pshat and Rabbi Yossi in the Brisa. Hamafker is karma if somebody's mafker his kereb, v'la shachar, and in the morning amad b'tzarai, he goes ahead and he harvests it, and like that he's showing that he's chayzer from the hefker. What's the halacha? Halacha is chayiv v'parat oilus v'shichu v'peya. So although hefker is pater from parat oilus shichu v'peya, the halacha is that he's chayiv. Why? Where do you learn it out from? Because the Torah says an extra word tazayiv. It says it twice. So it's coming to teach you a drasha that if somebody is mafker and then he's chayzer and reacquires it, he's zeichen it again, he's chayiv and all these things. But the halacha is he's pater on a meiser, pater on a meiser. Why? Because the guy in meiser does not say a ribui. You don't have this ribui. That if he reacquired it, then he's chayiv. So come to us that hefker is pater on a meiser. The chayr is brisa is seiser, the brisa we brought before, that was mechayiv you if you're chayzer and zeichen it because Ramon. Yeah, that's what Rish Lakish learned clearly, that there will be a chiyuv meiser in the ratio of Rabbi Yossi if nobody's zeichen. And over here you see that once his mafgrid is pater for meiser. So Zakti Gemara Bishloim Ula, it's very good according to Ula that you could say the brisa, the mafgrid sadeh who's going like the Rabbanon, and right away that when he's mafgrid it goes out of his rishos, so it's not shver to steer between the brises. Because the first brisa says in Chayim Meister, the Rabbanon Katanillah, it's talking about the din of the Ramon, and that's why he's Chayim Meister. I'm asking the second brisa is Dairaisa Katanillah. It's not talking about the Rabbanon, it's talking about Dairaisa. The maker of the Dairaisa Yechayiv. That because the hefker chal right away. Ela Rish Lakish, but according to Rish Lakish Pshat, and learned the brisa. First brisa is going like Rabbi Yossi, and the hefker does not go out as a shos until somebody else is zeichen it. Amai. Pater min meiser. How come the second brisa that we just brought, legabe mafker karma l'shachar amad abatzar? Why is it pater min meiser? L'chayra he is chayzer from the hefker, and according to Rabbi Yossi, he should be chayiv and meiser deraisa, since the hefker was not yotzim reshusay. Amalacha. So Rish Lakish answers, Kiyami, I know. Although I said the brisa, the first brisa is going like Rabbi Yossi, ha Rabbanon. That's what I said on the first brisa. The second brisa is a Rabbanon that hold that hefker is yotzim reshus mafkir kipshutai, and therefore you pater for meiser deraisa. So I'm saying you're right. First brisa we were talking about, as I said, Rabbi Yossi, but the second brisa is not Rabbi Yossi. That's taka Rabbanon, shitas Rabbanon.